Welcome to our art lesson. Today's art lesson is going to be interesting because it's the right time of year and the right month. So this totally makes sense to do. I think you'll guys understand what we're doing here in a couple of minutes. So before we get started, make sure to subscribe and like my videos and turn on all notifications so that you don't miss another one of my videos. So before we start though, I have a video update about a few videos. So I'm planning on uploading a video that I'm working on. I mentioned it in the video. Oh geez, what video was it? The video I explained where I was, I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure. But it's gonna be about the Titan submarine. I know that happened in June 2023, and I started working on like the video for it, but I didn't finish because I was busy. So it's just gonna have to be delayed for a little bit longer. I'm hoping to get it out like in a few months, hopefully. Hopefully it takes less. I don't know. I also have another video that I'm not currently working on. I haven't started working on it, but I got the idea of it. I got like it written down. I know what I'm gonna do for it. But once I get this video out, the Titan submarine video out, then I can go ahead and work on the other video I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get started. So let's talk about contour lines. So in my definition, a contour line is a line that follows the outline, like the outline of a subject. So that's kind of like my definition of it. So let's go ahead and draw one. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause my share real quick to draw this, and you guys see in a minute. But while I'm drawing this, think about, I'm not the best at drawing this, but think about contour lines. Think about them real quick while I draw this. And this drawing might not be the best. Well, it looks like. Yeah, that, I don't know. I don't know. That's meant to be a hand, and then see the lines on your hands. Those are examples of contour lines and examples of what we're going to be talking about today. So, video time. So I'm either going to put this video in the description below or show you guys what it is to give them credit. So let's go ahead and pull this video up right now. Okay. Okay, so here is the video. It's 6 minutes long. So which is gonna make this video a little long, but you know, it's for the art, I guess.
All right, guys, today I'm going to talk to you about how to draw a contour line drawing. A contour line drawing is a line drawing that goes around the outer edges of the object that you're trying to draw. And if you really pay close attention to those lines that you're trying to draw, you will end up with a drawing that looks very realistic. This one was made by a 4th grader of an unwrapped Tootsie Roll and a little package of candy. And I'm going to talk to you today about how we went about doing it. So the first thing we did was we set up what's called a still life. A still life is a group of objects that sit really still. So for this still life, we had 2 pieces of candy. We first had to figure out what was going to make an interesting composition or arrangement for a still life, something that would be interesting to draw and to look at when the drawing was finished.
I don't know if you guys heard that.
All right, guys, today I'm going to talk to you about how
I muted myself, but basically this video is going to cover contour lines, what we're going to be doing today. So it's really important to learn about these and what they are.
How to draw a contour line drawing. A contour line drawing is a line drawing that goes around the outer edges of the object that you're trying to draw. And if you really pay close attention to those lines that you're trying to draw, you will end up with a drawing that looks very realistic. This one was made by a 4th grader of an unwrapped Tootsie Roll and a little package of candy. And I'm going to talk to you today about how we went about doing it. So the first thing we did was we set up what's called a still life. A still life is a group of objects that sit really still. So for this still life, we had 2 pieces of candy. We first had to figure out what was going to make an interesting composition or arrangement for a still life, something that would be interesting to draw and to look at when the drawing was finished. So setting up a still life like this isn't very interesting, but even just turning the objects a little bit or opening the box of candy and leaning it or having some of the candy spill out instantly makes a more dynamic or interesting composition. So make sure you take a couple of minutes to arrange your still life. And once you've got that arranged, then you're ready to draw. Make sure whatever you're drawing, like for me, my candy still life is very close to the surface that I'm drawing on. So this will be that paper that I'm going to draw on. I'm going to start with this candy chews first. So what I like to do when I'm drawing something with a contour line, let me get my still life back in order, is I like to synchronize my hand that doesn't know how to draw with my hand that does. And by synchronize, I mean both hands are always doing the same thing. And what I will do is I'm going to use my finger to outline my piece of candy. And notice that as I'm doing that, my finger of my right hand, my drawing hand, is mimicking or doing the exact same thing. Once you feel like you understand how to do that, you can go ahead and put your pencil to paper to start. So I'm going to start here so I can see what I'm tracing. The whole time I'm doing this, my eyes are really on my finger that's tracing the outer edges or the contour lines of the candy. I'm not looking at the hand that's holding the pencil because I'm trying to pay close attention to what it should be mimicking or copying. I'm pressing down really hard with my pencil so that you can see what I'm drawing, but when you draw, you might want to draw lightly. That way, it's not so much strain on your finger, and if you need to fix anything, then you can always go back and erase. So I'm trying to make my finger that's going around the edges of the candy be synchronized or matched up with the finger that's tracing. And I'm going at a slow speed so I can do my very best. It helps if you're really quiet when you do this so that your creative side of your brain can do a lot of concentrating. Wow, so that looks pretty accurate. And I use the element of art of line. Now I can go back and use texture to show that there's some wrinkles in some of the candy. I could also go back and use more line to show form. If I even curve that line a little bit, suddenly it looks like my candy is rounded. To give it even more form, I see that there's a shadow here, so I could do a little bit of shading, but my favorite thing to do is add a little bit of a shadow underneath. Suddenly my object looks like it's actually sitting on a surface or a table. Doing something that has an organic shape like this, a wrinkled shape, a shape more like something we might find in nature, is a lot easier to do a contour line drawing.
And what we're doing today does not require a shadow
than when you're doing something that's geometric. So I could use the same method of tracing, or I could draw the shapes that I see. And my candy, I'm going to actually tilt my candy box up a little bit to make it look more 3D. So I know that this is a rectangle, and I see that it's coming toward me, and I can even hold my pencil at a slant and know that it's slanted just like my pencil was slanted. And this slant And now I'm going to make my lines match up. Looks like I'm going to bump into my other piece of candy a little bit. It looks like the lid of the box goes back into space. Oh, I think I have to fix something right here. Yep, I see my angle was incorrect. These lines always need to be parallel with each other. Parallel means they're going to do the same thing. Now I'm trying to show that the...
By the way, that does kind of mean like what parallel means, but parallel is basically two lines that are the same that basically don't cross.
Top of the box is going back into space. You could do...
I think. Or they might cross, but I think I'm correct.
Do the same method that I did earlier of tracing with my finger, or you could simply look at the line and see what the line is doing and try to mimic that with your pencil. Both ways work. You could just see what one works a little bit better for you. This box is behind the candy, so I'm trying to show that it is overlapping. I see a little peek of that other lid in there. Now I can go back and I see a shadow to show that this is also sitting on the table. But I don't want it to look like it's floating, so make sure your shadow goes all the way up to your piece of candy. And now comes the fun part. Now you can focus on the different designs that are on the box and the different colors you might want to use. This is just a sketch, so remember it can be quick and you should have a good time when you're doing it. You should have fun. All right, guys, I hope that little short contour line drawing helped you out a little bit.
I'm making such quick cash doing this.
So that is basically what we're going to be doing today. So basically, let me get back. So basically, it's really easy to figure out what we're going to be doing. I bet you guys already might have figured it out. But I want you guys to think of a question right now. Ask yourself this question. So as you watched that video, I want you to ask this question to yourself and really give yourself some time to think for your project. Do you have a favorite candy? I'm going to leave that up there for a second while I get to the steps. I don't know if it's showing that, but here's all the different candies and examples. And you can kind of see what we're going to be doing. Candy art. So you're going to need, well, materials I suggest using for this. I'm going to be using some markers and watercolors. I'm going to do markers for the candy, and then I'm going to do watercolors for the outer part of the paper. So I recommend using this type of paper, some thick paper. I got this from my art teacher a while ago. I was told it is drawn paper and not watercolor paper. But I used this before on your watercolors. It was okay. I can kind of see why it's not best for watercolors, but screw it. Okay, so let's get to the steps that I'm going to show you guys.